Hello there, I am Scotty Deluxe, and this is my first video on this TFT channel, so please like and subscribe to get this channel off the ground. Now, what are we looking at here? So this is Set7, and it's brand new, so it's not easy to parse everything that's going on. First thing you need to know is mages in Set7 all cast twice and have double AP at mages 5. Early on in this run, I had gotten 2 mage trait items, so I had thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if this dragon cast twice, and I was not prepared for what eventually happened here at 3 stars. The shield, as you can see, is 3,740 for 5 seconds on all of my units, and, well, it happens twice. So we're just going to hop into a battle here, and the shields that it generates will absolutely speak for themselves. Yeah, so that's something like a almost 8,000 shield on all of my units for 5 seconds. Now, I really don't know how this stuff exactly stacks, but you can see I'm just straight up tanking Shyvana. Now, later on in this video, you'll see my first run that I had put in during the day. This was probably my like 6th or 7th, the video you're seeing now. And Shyvana is just an absolute wrecking ball, so it's really satisfying getting to get some revenge at this point in the day. Yeah, that shielding was so nuts, my opponent had started asking me about it in chat. Another thing to note is this is now the 3rd fight that I've had Bard in, and I don't remember it dropping these notes on the first fight. In the second fight, you had seen him on the battlefield, so there really wasn't many shenanigans going on here with, say, increased rarity to get this dragon, but I think we got really fortunate, and this shielding is just nuts, and we do eventually go on to a win. Another note about Bard here is that his ability like stuns the entire team, or it stuns people in a radius, and him double casting as well is extra good.
No prison can hold me.
One of the cooler parts about this build that came together kind of early is Lilia getting the Whispers emblem, and man, it's just so cool. So her ability hits like multiple units, and of course she's a mage at base, so she like double casts, and she's just double casting and shrinking all sorts of enemies. And really the reason I'm at 3 health is because she was carrying me through battles, and I barely survived the other battles that happened. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if it weren't for Lilia, I wouldn't even have made it this far. One thing I had noticed today was the amount of Shyvana carries going on, and it's just really satisfying to tank that Shyvana for the win. It just feels like great payback, and now we're going to be heading into my first game of the day. I do get a top 4, and it's just a nice little learning experience, and I'm going to talk you through my process as we discover this new set together. So here we are with the first carousel, and I'm trying to use my sensibilities from set 6 to try to pick something worthwhile, and I don't know, I see a sword, so we go for it. My apologies for the screen adjustment. I had realized the recording software I was using wasn't quite adjusted for TFT. At first glance, Jade looks really interesting to me. Guardian, obviously very useful, easily an early game thing to just throw in 2 units. Ragewing, Shimmerwing, all really hard to parse right off the bat. Trainer is clearly the Yordles for the set.
Behold immortality!
I believe in the future of dragonkind.
So I basically just start slapping together an early comp, a little bit of damage dealing, a little bit of defense.
Never a dull day.
Items aren't bad. I can go either AP with the tier or AD with the sword, and we'll see as we get our next few items and our first choice of augment.
Never a dull day.
Okay, so Mirage champions, I don't really know what those do quite yet. Electrocharge, obviously good, but I'm just going to go with true 2s and get me through the first bunch of player battles. I figure 2 2-star units should carry me no matter what they are, and these 2 happen to share a trait called Astral. Again, I haven't delved too deep into this set yet, so I'm like, okay, they share a trait, let's figure it out, and let's try to use it a little bit.
Now we shall gluttonize.
As you can see at this point, I am starting to read the abilities of my units and starting to understand where to put these items. I can go with either a Bloodthirster or a Spear of Shojin, and I don't really know which units I want to use quite yet, but I am noticing that Nidalee reminds me of like Warwick from set 6, so I'm thinking something like a Quicksilver. I have a Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster seems to go a lot better with Nidalee than it would have on Warwick in set 6 because Nidalee's attacks are all physical damage. And I do end up putting it on Nidalee just to help get really push this early team comp that I have going. As you see, Nidalee's holding her own, and I'm just going to lean into that for pretty much all of round 3, and just start to get an idea of what to do with these units. Now, another thing you'll notice is I actually just got Astral 3, and all through round 2, I also had the Nico that was on my team, and I didn't quite read Nico's ability to understand it correctly. And even here, I don't think I quite grasp it, and just kind of turn Nico into a Nidalee, but anyway, now we have Astral 3, and it even still takes me a little bit of time to kind of figure out what to do with that. Now, Ilaoi's a big find for me because I wasn't too happy with my front line, and we have a couple of defensive items sort of brewing on the bench, and let's see where we go next. By defensive items on the bench, I mean I could be thinking about making a Redemption, which I do end up doing here, or possibly even an Ionic Spark. I think both of those are really great, especially if you don't know what kind of battle you're getting into, as long as you've got some way to deal damage and back them up. I do go on to maintain this win streak for a few more fights, as we'll see here, but we're about to head into our second augment. And looking at these, I don't think I noticed the reroll at this point. I mean, I hover over it just now, but I do end up taking the Thief's Gloves. On hindsight, I probably should have just rerolled here because those weren't great options. I mean, Exiles probably would have been fine. But I felt like my items weren't fantastic, and I just thought a Thief's Glove, you know, give me a little bit of an extra boost as I start to learn what the units do. Skarner's actually a really good choice for the Thief's Glove, I think, because Skarner, if it gets defensive items, it's fine because it's kind of a frontliner, but if it gets offensive items, that's fine too because its shield that it has also increases your attack speed. So I tend to look for units like that, sort of hybrid-ish units when I put a Thief's Glove onto somebody anyway because of the RNG nature of the item. Now, I believe that was the first time I saw the Astral comp take effect. I thought it was every 5 rounds you get to see more Astral units on the bench, and I still don't realize what it is. It's every 5 refreshes. It's every 5 times you see units. So I realize it in, I think, the next round. Nidalee still putting in work. I do want better items for Nidalee. I do have it on my mind to 3-star Nidalee and also get better items, so we'll see how that goes. It's really, right now, from my limited understanding of this set, again, this is my first match played. I was Platinum 2 in rank 6 and kind of tried for Diamond, although it was really close to the end of the season and was like, okay, Set 7, that's where I'm going to put my extra effort, and so far, just a little bit I've played today was really enjoyable. Now here I start to see my first dragons, and I don't think I understood that they give 3 of a trait. So, yeah, this is where my sort of intuition starts to fall off. So I see Soraka, and I pick up Soraka, and I'm thinking, okay, great, we'll add some healing to this comp, a little bit of sustain, we've got some healing on the front line, we've got Nidalee healing, like, it's a sustain comp. I'll try to pick off the units, and everything's looking great. I'm on a 9 win streak, but here's where I eat my first L. And I think I kind of mistakenly assumed that these astral units are going to carry me into a higher place. And they do, but you'll start to see me get out-muscled in just a moment here after this NPC round. It does also seem to play out that my intuition on items is correct. I've gotten very little items that allow me to do extra damage. So I still think taking the Thief's Glove was a good play. Again, maybe the reroll there, but we're just learning. And here's where I start to see how Astrals really work. And I do believe I go on to just roll down. It's a spend down comp now. Okay, so 3 random item components is a snap pick for me. I think that even re-rolling there probably wouldn't have been helpful. I just need to beef up this team somewhat. And yeah, pretty much this is where I start to think, okay, I have plenty of health. I seem to be the only person in Astral. I'm ready to roll down and gain some extra units. I've got 3 item components that are just sitting there. Like, things are looking good. There's the Quicksilver I was hoping for.
I will quell the fires of conflict.
This will be quick.
Couple of 3 stars, and we're pretty much ready to roll.
This is motion.
Now, I do believe this is my first encounter with a Shyvana, and hey, that wasn't too dangerous. That didn't seem too bad. I've got 3-star units. So I'm going to skip the carousel and the battle after that, but basically at the carousel I get a bow, which allows me to get Queen Suze onto Nidalee, and my 2-star Nidalee does some work in the fight, and it goes pretty clean, and then we get to 3-star Nidalee here. Now I'm thinking to myself, like, seems like a pretty good carry. Like, if this were set 6 and something like Nidalee was around, like a Warwick with perfect items, 3-star, and, you know, heading into, 5-1, I'd feel really good about it. You can watch her here just kind of like popping off. So in short, yeah, I am feeling good about this.
So aptly named.
And now we have this round. It's my first time seeing it, and I am aware of how this works through reading some of the notes that were given as the set was about to come out. So I knew you could refresh this. So this time we refresh into what I think is kind of like some items to help tie everything together. So one more defensive item on Illaoi in the form of the Dragon's Tear. In addition to that, I was thinking to myself, we could get a blue buff with 2 tiers, but then it hits me, man, I've got 2 redemptions. Why not triple down on the healing this team has, and we just double redemption onto Soraka to beef up that backline? Why not? If I'm taking any incidental damage on my units back there, it'll be healed up through redemption. Soraka herself heals. Like, this is it. Living the dream. Nice little zoom in of all my 3-star units there. Feels good, man. But here is where the hope starts to fade. Yeah. This team has all the AD. In hindsight, my front line wasn't very good against AD, and this is probably a learning moment for me in that respect. I do go on to play a similar comp later in the day, and try to, really figure out like where AD and AP stand in this patch, but you can see I kind of quickly get chewed out by multiple players. This is that Shyvana getting revenge from when I defeated them earlier, and obviously much stronger now. Yeah. Please enjoy my montage of getting absolutely shredded. We go from 3 losses into 4 losses. Into 5 losses. So many Shyvana shreds. But I do start thinking here, like, what went wrong? I mean, are Astrals bad? Astral 6 is kind of cool. When I roll down, I get extra bonuses, but... Oh, I don't have any dragons on my team. I should start reading these dragons. So I see a legendary dragon, and I then find out it needs 2 team slots. I don't know who to rip out at this moment in time, so kind of blunder my way through that. And, you know, I realize there's something in these dragons maybe that I wasn't paying attention to. Now, if you've been paying attention to these last few battles, you'll see that I pretty much got trounced. This one I survive a little longer. I think the extra, like the Dragon's Tier and the extra defense against magic, it just went a little bit of a longer way in this fight. But I do have the Aoshin, I'm going to say, on my bench right now, and I had an extra Quicksilver there that I tossed onto it. And I'm starting to try to figure out where to put this on my team. I'm not gonna quickly roll up to level 8. I see a second one, so I'm thinking, wait, now I really got to get this thing on my team, because if I get a 2-star, it's gonna be extra strong. And I end up taking out the Soraka to make room here. I do start spending down trying to find either a different dragon or really just a 2-star on the Aoshin. Assuming that that's where my weakness lies. And I give it the 2 redemptions, it's got the Quicksilver. I'm thinking, okay, let's just make something happen. Its ability looked pretty cool on paper, and let's see it. Okay, it rains some fireballs. It's like a Kaisa from Set 6. I think I can work with that. 2 redemptions probably isn't the way to go, however. And oh boy, an Aurelian Soul pops out of my Astral Orb. Okay. So who's better for my team, Aurelian Soul or Aoshin? I don't actually know the answer. I would suppose whoever gets the 2-star first, probably. A bunch of useless rerolls later, we do get a second Aurelian Soul. Oh boy. But check this fight out. I'm actually holding on pretty steadily. Okay, Aoshin pops off for the win there. Okay, looking good. Now, I quickly analyze the carousel, and you'll see here I decide to go instantly for the Giant Slayer. Now, this is the Kaisa sensibilities from Set 6. Yeah, you can see here I checked the item. I wish I didn't put both redemptions on Aoshin. I read the ability, I knew what it did, and I'm just like, I need it to do more damage. And I grabbed the Giant Slayer, but item slots are full. Well, if only there was something on my bench that could remove items. Yeah, so here we go looking for a third a third dragon, and I do remove that from the Aoshin, but look, third Aurelion Soul. Okay, well, a 2-star Aurelion Soul must be stronger, right? It's not the same. Aurelion Soul has this, like, slightly CC ability that is, does a little bit of damage, but it's not that kind of, like, crazy burst damage that this team needs to win. I have a little bit of CC, I have a little bit of sustain, I really needed more damage. And I honestly think if I had waited it out with the Yao Xin, I might have caught a first place here. But Aurelion Soul just doesn't cut it. And yeah, my arch nemesis is created, Shyvana. And that's going to do it for my very first round in the new season. So have fun, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.